Hey you guys, this is Jasmine Marie coming back to you with another video. Today we will be cooking pork chops with gravy and scallop potatoes. Okay, so we are going to start slicing up the potatoes. You can use a mandolin slicer if you want to be all fancy, but if not, just use a regular knife and slice them about the same size. These are 4 medium-sized potatoes. Next, I am going to slice up a half of a medium-sized onion. You can use yellow, you can use white. I wouldn't necessarily use red. It's a little bit too strong for this dish. Now let's put that onion off to the side while we make our sauce. We are going to start off with 3 tablespoons of real butter. To make your roux, how much fat you use the same flour. So we used 3 tablespoons of butter, and now we're going to use 3 tablespoons of flour. And we're going to take a whisk and whisk it up together. You want to keep whisking because you don't want it to burn. Now it's time to add your milk. I have 2%, but you can use whole milk if you want. I have a cup of milk that I'm going to slowly pour into it, and I'm whisking it at the same time. And it's going to slowly start to thicken up as we continue to whisk. Now let's start adding flavor. We're going to start off with 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. If you want, you can chop up your garlic, but I just got mine already minced. Now I'm going to add more milk. I have a half of cup. This time, you don't want to add all of your milk at one time because it will thicken up and you're going to want to loosen it up. Now it's time to add more flavor. I'm going to start off with a teaspoon of the Weber garlic parmesan seasoning. I use this in everything. It is so delicious. I love garlic, so I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of paprika, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and a half a teaspoon of seasoning salt. I have the Lawry's brand. Now we're just going to whisk all of that good flavor in together until it is well incorporated. And I have this on a small simmer. I actually have it on 3. Now I love my food to have a little color and a hint of spice. So I'm just freehanding the parsley. And I'm adding a little kick of cayenne pepper. You add as little or as much as you would like. Now it's time for some cheese. I'm adding about a half a cup of Mexican cheese. You can add sharp, you can add medium, whatever cheese you like. I love Mexican cheese, so that's what I'm adding. Now I have incorporated the cheese and it is a smooth consistency. Now let's assemble. I have a cast iron skillet that I just put olive oil at the bottom so it won't stick. And I place half of my potatoes at the bottom. Now this next step you can skip if you want, but I like to season my potatoes. I add a little bit of black pepper and a little sprinkle of the Weber garlic jalapeno seasoning. Now it's time to add half of those onions that we cut up earlier. Look how beautiful and thick that sauce looks. We're adding half of that to the potatoes and onions. And top that layer off with some cheese. Again, I am just using the Mexican cheese, but you can use any cheese that you like. And now we're just going to repeat those steps over again. Add in your potatoes, then add in your onions, then we're going to add the sauce, then top it off with the cheese, and we're going to add a little parsley for color over the top, as well as black pepper. Then all we do is just cover it up in aluminum foil, put it in a preheated oven that's 350 for 40 minutes. Now, while the scalloped potatoes are in the oven, let's get started on the breakfast pork chops. These are boneless. I'm going to start off with 2 tablespoons of yellow mustard. 1 teaspoon of seasoning salt is the Lowry's brand. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. 1 teaspoon of onion powder. 1 teaspoon of Weber garlic parmesan. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. A 4 teaspoon of parsley flakes for color. A sprinkle of cayenne pepper. A half a teaspoon of ranch seasoning. And lastly, a half teaspoon of minced garlic. Now let's just mix everything together until there is seasoning on every pork chop. Now I just add them into a pan that I just put olive oil at the bottom. Now while this is cooking, I did check on my scalloped potatoes. I took the aluminum foil off and I let them cook under broil for an extra 15 minutes. And this is the finished product. I'm adding some green onions to the top for color and for flavor. Do y'all hear that sizzle? It just came out of the oven. Now while that is cooling off, let's go back to the pork chops. I added a little bit water and onions and bell pepper. I'm going to add some gravy, so I added a cup of water. And I'm just adding a couple of tablespoons of the McCormick brown gravy. Now this is a shortcut. You are welcome to make your own gravy from scratch. It'll taste better, but I didn't want to go through all of those steps. So this is just as delicious. And let's just mix everything together. I just let that simmer for about 10 minutes until the gravy is smooth. Add a little parsley to top it off. And now it's time to fix plates. I just served the pork chops and scalloped potatoes with some broccoli. It was delicious. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Jazz Marie, signing off.